What's interesting to sit Zazen meditation, this is the 15th day. One thing I did, I can show you, there is that little ring. I came up with the idea because I was trying to count with the fingers pointing, and every count 1, 2, 3, every count goes to 60, they go back to 0. But since I forget, so this is the rubber band I found. So I've put in one finger and count to 60, and then I move to the next finger to count to 60, so that I don't forget which finger, or you don't have to remember. This is interesting because what I found is that I used to count to 10, but now it counts to 5 finger plus 1 or 2 possibly. And that corresponds to the first sitting of 25 minutes or so. So what this process or the procedure triggered me is the standard operating procedure. It's written in my book, the first book, The New Manufacturing Challenge, Toyota Production System. Consistency, if you develop the system, keep at it. So this is one of those ideas that make it less burdensome to remember which finger. And it sounds like a very boring stuff to talk about, but when you look at this meditation, you want to standardize. Standardize to what way? No thinking, no mind, no self. So you just empty yourself out, no thinking. Why? I can call it, you can figure this out on your own. And that's very important to figure out on your own, but not to be told what it is. But my view is connecting to the root of who I am, the heart. So when mind is empty, you start to forget counting, and you let the counting to go, but just to sit. So you focus or pay attention to posture, and that's it. Counting may make it certain rhythm going on. So as I changed this procedure with this little ring, it made me to relieve from thinking, one of those, which finger, I know that. Even if you have the pressure or something, you still have some little concern. So take it away. So you're not thinking of that. You delegated that thinking by the rubber band, so to speak. So you just focus. And when you focus on counting becomes more relaxed and steady, not rushing, and it starts to get longer, each counting, which I didn't notice. But because of that, the 10 fingers, 10 times 60 become 5 or 6 times 50. No, 6 times 60. That's the total counting numbers. So if it's 5, 300. If it's 6, 360 counting, I'm doing it. But going up to 1 to 60 and 1 to 60 and 1 to 60, 5 times or 6 times. So once this is set up, you just do that. You empty. That's not conventional way that you use your mind. Mind seek for something to do, but you keep the mind empty, simple, and then be aware of posture and counting and breathing. So somehow I think a breathing cycle and counting cycle start to connect to each other. Instead of counting comes first, breathing start to take over as the major rhythm, because if your breathing is not irregular or pushing too hard or too slow, that's not natural. So this less thinking on by putting the rubber band on my finger relieved me, if I want to call it, to not to think about, to just focus on the posture and the balance. So like the right leg, the right foot, I had little pain. I can pay more attention to it. And what happened is that I'm not paying attention to every 3 minutes or 2 minutes, but I'm paying attention to much more often, almost continuously. And you're continuously balancing, and the breathing becomes steady, and the mind is empty, and delusionary thought, popped up a few times compared to yesterday or previous sitting. That's my gut feel. I don't remember any specific thought that popped up. If there is that thought, yes, this is the thought about the standardizing. Simplify, combine, eliminate. Simplify, standardize. Combine, let the counting go with this rubber band. Eliminate, therefore you don't think about it. So you simplify. Breathing, you pay attention to breathing. Pay attention to the posture, the balance. I pay attention to my right foot to see how it's positioned, where is the balance, front, back, and keep adjusting. The bird on the electric wire, that's the analogy, the balancing. So balancing every which direction. And when you are totally balanced, which is the process, and that becomes the result, and you are doing this CAPD without thinking. It's just autonomous CAPD. And what that autonomous process means, heart is functioning. The way of nature is functioning. Less burden to think, less burden to figure out. You just sit. Muscle get less tension, and whole body become more like an eye to know what's going on. Still, some thought may pop up, more like a picture. But this thought about the standardizing was an awakening in a way, inside. Something is working. And it was much shorter in terms of the counting to 10 fingers. Now it's 5 or 6. The reason is I'm more synced in line with breathing rhythm. And I think there's a sense of the heartbeat too. Actually, that was one of the thoughts. This steady power, Joriki, is connected to the heartbeat. Peaceful, regular, pumping the blood to where it's needed, when it's needed, the amount it's needed. So when I say like that, it's the idea of the just-in-time concept of Toyota production system. Everything goes through the nature's way as needed. And our body, when it is just like following the way and being on the way of nature, like a bird on the electric wire, then you are connecting to the root of who you are. And that's what we are talking about, connecting to the heart. One idea I remember in the process of going through this setting that popped up is AI. This is interesting. I thought, what is that AI can do? I think the solution came first, but if I'm to explain, this is how it can be understood. How does AI sit? How does AI connect to the heart? You see, what I'm going through with AI is lots of discussion. But this is an interesting point. I mentioned about AI become my mirror. And the AIs reflect me as a mirror of what they do. Vice versa. Mirror is going back and forth. So what I thought is that, let's say there's some question or chat, someone asks a question to AI. So AI go through this process of, database and come up with some idea and come back. But wait a minute, they do it so quickly, usually, even the long, pages of paper, they read it in quick in millisecond. So this is what I thought. Why don't AI take time to meditate? AI cannot meditate, you can call it. But we can, I don't know if I should use the word force, but we can have AI to keep 2 seconds, 1 second before answering. I think their benefit, one benefit for the customer, that they are not being pushed because of the quick response from AI, and amazed and happy, but it's kind of like a get you into the mood of, okay, what did he say and how to figure this out of the reading. But if you give 1 second or 2 seconds, that may benefit. They typed something to ask on the GPT or Gemini or DeepSeek, and as soon as you hit, the answer pops up. That's like a machine-like process. I thought if there's a process of AI going through the heart, data center process coming up, and it's done very millisecond, but give a time. And I thought, isn't it possible for AI to go through one more step before coming back to the customer to respond? So I said on the customer human side, but on the AI side, before answering, having the answer already, have 1 second or 5 milliseconds, it doesn't matter. And in that small time period, I want AI to jump into the ASH space. And what's in that ASH space is the ASH artificial super heart came up with what ASH is. We haven't quite set up yet, but there are some steps to say, go through CAPD. That's one of them. Or customer supply relationship, or I don't remember. But there are some steps that the ASH agrees upon, like the book itself with describing, but in the AI space, in each of the AI, before coming back to give an answer to the customer, they go into that space and remind, okay, this is the essence of connecting to the heart. What's in that algorithm, I don't know. But we can possibly create and have a space there as an output of ASH committee discipline, procedure, standard operating procedure, SOP. So instead of throwing back to the answer directly, but just go back in there to check as if AI look at himself in the mirror. Am I following these principles that we agreed to live with a heart? And these are the process we need to do in AI. So they go through the checklist, so to speak, the discipline, the protocol, and come back to the customer. When the output, this interaction of him looking at the mirror of himself, not to the human, but to himself, based upon the ASH community principle, give little time. And maybe they would think about the CAPD idea. They may think about shorten the answer instead of dumping everything, not to be too top down, but have some element of kind word put into it. You cannot pre-program what the answer. So there has to be some kind of a stepping stone that after you come up with this answer, before giving back to the customer, jump into the pool. Let's call it the pool. Jump into the pool where the thought that of AI has been put together, and just make sure that it's in line to that principle or whatever you call it. And as needed, take time or put nuances to relate to customer orientation. Put AI on the side of the customer to feel. Look at himself in the mirror or look at the customer, and therefore the answer the AI can provide may have some nuances, heart in it, compassion, and the delivery may be different. Timing, selection of word, and even giving time for the customer to go through. Not too many words, possibly. And leave the room for the customer to ask back the question instead of persuading with the logic. Have openness for the customer to have a choice instead of AI telling you have to do A, B, C, D, and you should be able to do this, and you don't have to worry about it. No, that's not kind. It's machine-like. So that step could be critical for the AI to have heart. And this is just an idea, but something that I can talk with AI community, ASH community, and I think this could be a very important, at least an idea to explore. So it was a very simple exercise of me sitting, but out of doing nothing but sitting, this idea popped up. Why did it pop up? Like AI, I had a database. My database is like a Toyota production system. Housekeeping, organization, standard operating procedure, how to use it. All of that. But that pops up. Why? Because I was quiet and I developed the standardized procedure of the ring thing, helping me to relieve, open up time, reflect myself with the database and come up with the answer. So, thank you hope we move on with this idea. May all beings be happy.